was a massive furor in the Islamic community. They thought this is an insulting depiction. Sure, you can have documentation of controversies about things, but you don't need to put the image in there. That's insulting. And it seemed to play out that the image was fine to be there from the tolerant West Coast American point of view. The image was fine. But then, most recently, was the scandal of child pornography in Wikimedia Commons, and without even an eyelid batted, a massive deletion campaign, which disrupted the community big time. So there was no discussion about it. The discussion happened after the fact, and I can understand the reaction of it only because the controversy was emanating from America. And so the cultural bias was, to me, most evident in those two examples, pretty extreme examples. One cultural group was offended at the depiction of Muhammad, another group was offended at the depictions of children.
Is it culture? Because I watched that controversy on the Wikimedia Foundation mailing list, and I don't think it was American culture, it was the perspective. Wikipedia is so visible in the media, and I want to have control over how they're perceived. So it was an issue of, let's remove this because I personally find child pornography offensive, and I'm going to define it. It has nothing to do with the fact that I'm American. It has to do with the fact that Wikipedia is very visible, and I'll get a lot of media attention, and I have media contacts to get that attention. And the person who was doing it on the mailing list seemed to be, I have media attention, I can get attention for this. Wikipedia is so visible. They're like, why don't you fork? You don't like it? Fork. He's like, no, I can't leave Wikipedia. Wikipedia's got all the media attention. And so I don't think it has to do with American culture per se. I think it has to do with the visibility.
Although the individuals that I'm aware of deleted were
Was that illegal content though?
No.
It depends on your country.
It wasn't in Florida, which is a relevant bit for the legal issues there.
Which is, I guess, an issue for Wikipedia.
And it kind of spilled over into line drawings of 1912 lithographs of a priest doing terrible things to a young boy, but it was some illustration of a child's dark nursery rhyme or something like that. And so it was sort of spilling over beyond just the literal and graphic and into historical documents as well.
But can I go back? I think that point's a really important point about Wikipedia, and that's what I actually looked at for, is not all the stories you can get from the media discussing it. It's where there's small topics and you can get the discussion and the diversity. So, I mean, if Wikipedia thinks its strength is a neutral voice, well, we don't need it for that. What we need is where you do actually get a quick scan, where you do want to make an informed opinion, and it may be and I think it's strengthened by diversity, not weakened by it. If you only get one perspective, you look at it and think, oh, okay, that's just straight out of the newspaper, I've read that over, I don't think I'll bother. Whereas if you get one other view even, it just gives it that kind of further authority, which will probably no doubt be manipulated as well, so that everyone will have, this is the opposing view.
If you forked, do you have the right or the power to put a link to the fork project on or does it have to be first sight?
You can fork off whatever you want. People could fork.
Put a link on the Wikipedia page
It depends on. It depends on what you're doing.
So,
I mean, you could, but they have to say this wiki is. There's a whole issue of credible sourcing and stuff like that regarding.
And in the discussion page, it probably wouldn't remain.
Oh, so sorry, the forking I assumed was something you could fork from the original Wikipedia.
You could fork from Wikipedia.
Just take the content, you start a new website.
Ah, well, that's useless. Sorry, I thought there was something more interesting you could say.
But if it was empowered by the
Wikipedia, I think there needs to be a development of a process that sort of allows that back referencing. A lot of it does happen with Wiki, for example. Content like fan material is moved off to Wiki or somewhere else, and there is a link given to the Wiki site. I think that needs to be developed further.
But Wiki is strange. They have a commercial relationship with Wikipedia, and Wikia, when you fork from what?
They don't have a direct commercial relationship.
There's some behind-the-scenes stuff where they've got Jimmy Wales on board with both, so there's incentive for them to link from one to the other, and Wikia doesn't allow the same backlinking when they fork. So I've got some issues.
Yeah, okay.
What is forking exactly?
Oh, yeah.
What? Forking is when you take a wiki and you're like, I'm going to take some of the content or all of the content or the idea, and you just create a new wiki, and often you'll take some of the community members will be like, I'm not happy with the rules, and so we'll leave and do our own thing.
Okay.
So it's not a wiki-specific term.
No, No.
It's a software project.
Software and, you know,
It
if
comes
you
from
take
a
it a
license
different
itself.
direction, it can create another project out of the original code.
So we've talked about welcoming, we've talked about forking. What other things in sort of a wiki culture? I mean, so I started Wiki Index, which was putting all, it was a wiki about wiki, so every wiki page pointed to another wiki. And my goal of that, in hindsight, was so that somebody wanted to start a wiki about X, they would be able to find that there's 3 other people or 2 other people or 1 other people doing that, so they could just work with them. So I was wanting people to work together and collaborate, not fork as much. And I think that's when I met Chris, is he actually went out to like 6 or 7 sustainability wikis and said, hey, we want to, I see that yours isn't so active, do you want to join ours? And was able to do that. And I think that's a value that wiki culture has, is working together as much as possible.
But for me, like, I was listening to this and, I'm not really involved in Wikipedia. But to me, it's like, it's that thing. What we observe here is sort of human nature. And I really like what you were saying. I can't remember your name. But what's your name? What's your name again? Diane. That it's really about the purpose and setting that, because when you study organizations and so conflict management, it's always about, you need to put it back to the higher purpose of that thing. That means that whatever you do, you just need to really have a clear vision of where you are going with this, and then try to take the people with you. And of course, with Wikipedia, it's a difficult task because it's huge. It's huge, and we have so many people living on this planet using that thing and editing that thing. But that's, to me, what it comes down to, is really looking at ways of how you can create that purpose and that higher vision that people, can work with, and they know what's going on and what's expected.
The other